Perfectionism can be an healthy trait, but then the problem arises when it is taken to the extreme. Perfectionism can provide you high motivation for success, but can also cause a lot of anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. But then it all depends on how well you are able to manage these traits and ensure that it doesn't take the best part of you. And that's what this video is all about. Today, I'll be sharing with you 5 ways in which you can overcome your perfectionism. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, I'm Adeola Praise, and on this channel I create videos on productivity, self-development and academics. So if you love to see more content on the topics I just mentioned, please do well to subscribe to my channel. So this video is actually the third and final episode of the Perfectionism series, a series I started a few weeks back on this channel. And from the title you can guess that this series is about everything there is to know on perfectionism. So you might want to watch the first and second episode of this series. In the first episode, I talked about who exactly is a perfectionist. And in the second episode, I addressed the question, is there any good being a perfectionist? So I'll be leaving the links to this video in the description box down below. You can do well to watch them. So all that said, let's get into today's video. So far, I've made an explicit explanation of what perfectionism truly is. And I've also highlighted the pros and cons. But today, I'll be talking about how to deal with your perfectionism. Number one, adjust your standards. Perfectionists have extremely high standards and they are not ready to accept anything short of perfect. And this is actually their biggest problem. Now, a desire to achieve is actually healthy, but an irrational desire to remain perfect always can cause a lot of problems. This kind of thinking is actually unrealistic, as you can't be perfect all the time. You need to allow imperfections into your work in order to learn from mistakes, because perfection shouldn't be the standard. Instead, growth should be the standard. No one is perfect. There is always something to improve on. Take for instance, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't want to put up my first video because I actually felt that it wasn't good enough, even though I spent like about 10 days making this video. And this was mainly because I've seen so many of my favorite YouTubers put up lovely videos that I actually want to go back to. But then I realized that these people have been into this YouTube thing for years. So if I want to make videos of equal quality, I need to make growth my standard and not perfection. When you make growth your standard, you worry less about how your work turned out, thereby channeling your energy towards improvement. This makes you less depressed or anxious about your performance. Number two, create a system or a checklist. Perfectionists are very good at paying attention to details that they sometimes forget why they started their work or project in the first place. They get lost in the world of analysis paralysis because they tend to overthink their work, thereby preventing them from taking action. However, this can be prevented by creating a system or a checklist that reminds you of the basic things that you need to put in place or that needs to be done in order to prevent all these details which are sometimes unrealistic from overwhelming you. For instance, anytime I'm preparing for exams, the perfectionist in me would want to spend a whole week looking for the best revision techniques, the best study techniques, the best notebook or the best app. But ever since I created a system for my studying and revision, which just includes knowing the topics I want to read or revise and checking them off when I'm done, my life has been easier. Number three, manage your critical voice. Perfectionists are really self-critical. As a perfectionist, you become so hard on yourself when things didn't go as planned, regardless of it being your fault or not. This leads to negative talks and low self-esteem. The first step to managing your critical voice is by accepting yourself for who you are and being aware that your achievement or work doesn't define you. For now, I thought the reason people liked me was because of my academic performance. This made me more aware of the way I communicated with people. And at the end of each day, I would go back to my room and say things like, oh, Adeola, you were too lousy, you talked too much, or you were so dumb, you couldn't even say anything about AI when this guy was talking. This made me set unrealistic intellectual goals for myself, and then I really got a lot of anxiety when I have conversations with people. So what did I do? Every day I would speak positive things to myself like, Adeola, you are enough. Your academic performance or intellectual ability doesn't define you. Be yourself and enjoy your communication with other people. This really helped me as I began to value myself the more. The second step to managing your critical voice is by avoiding self-blame. As a perfectionist, it is really easy to blame yourself for every mistake or failure. Start acknowledging your efforts. Remind yourself of your success and reward yourself for at least getting the job done. Number 4, delegate more. As a perfectionist, you definitely have this do it yourself or do it alone attitude. And this is mainly because you find it easier working independently rather than breaking down your standards for others to understand. But then I've discovered that you can't do it alone. You need to allow others into your work. Find the aspects where you need assistance. Find the right people for the task and then delegate. Perfectionists are highly motivated people. Hence, they get some level of satisfaction when they independently see a project through from scratch to their presumed perfection. But then you need to consider other factors such as the time you are putting into this work or project, other equally important tasks you are neglecting, your sleep, your mental health, and other things you are putting at stake. Number 5, celebrate every progress, small wins, and even failures. Perfectionists are very focused on results that they don't enjoy the process. You need to start embracing experience rather than focusing on results. Actually, this very act was the most important step I took towards overcoming my own perfectionism. I don't celebrate my progress alone, I also embrace my mistakes and learn from them, as they are very necessary for my growth and improvement. For instance, even though my YouTube channel hasn't gotten to the level of success I'm actually aiming for, rather than beating myself up over it, I'm actually appreciating and acknowledging small progress, such as my editing skills. I mean, looking at my first video, there's actually a very clear difference. Also, my speaking skills has actually seen some improvements, and so many other things I've actually noticed personally. Doing this reduces depressions and feelings that you are not enough. So those were the steps I took towards overcoming my own perfectionism, and I hope they will be of good help to you. So that's a wrap for the Unperfectionism series. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you actually learned a lot from this series. If you haven't watched the first and second episode of this series, I'll be leaving the link in the description box down below. Please, before you go, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications to this channel so that you'll be aware when next I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.